Hello students, today's agenda is to check homework. We'll be learning about cylinders and specifically the surface area, and you will be able to work on 11.7. Today students will be able to find the surface area of cylinders. And so what is surface area? So surface area is the sum of the area of the surfaces. And I was sharing with one of the classes, it's like when you're going to paint the walls on a room or a house. So the surface areas will be just like each wall is a surface. So you find the area of each surface and then you add them together to know how much area you're going to paint. And then that means that that'll give you an idea of, because the gallons of paint tells you how many cubic feet they cover or something like that. Okay, but what if you're not painting rooms? You're just finding the surface area of a cylinder. And so a cylinder, you know that it's something like this, where you have two bases that are the same. And so those will be circles. And then you have the height, okay? And so we're trying to figure out how much, let's say if we're talking about like decorating this cylinder, maybe I want to put glitter and I need to know how much area to cover. So I need to know how much area together will be one circle, the area of this other circle, and then the area formed, or there, I think it's called the lateral area. Okay, so if I put it apart, I end up with a circle and another circle. But then if I pull this apart as well, look at what I get. I get two circles and a rectangle. Okay, and so let me do the area for the two circles first, and I'll come back to this. So we're gonna find the area of the two circles first. And so for one circle, the area is pi r squared. But we have two of them, so we're going to multiply whatever the area of one is, multiply it by 2. Okay? And so that's just for the two bases, area of the two bases. So it's gonna be A is equals to 2 times 3.14 times the radius, which is 3 square. And so this gives me 2 times 3.14 times 3 squared is 9. I can multiply this first if I wish, or if you wish, that way, because multiplication is associative and commutative. So it doesn't matter the order, you just multiply it and you will get the answer. 2 times 9 is 18 times 3.14. And at this point, I recommend that you use your calculator if you're allowed to, but if not, then you just multiply 18 times 314 and go back 2 spaces. So the area for the two bases is 18 times 3.14 is 56.52. The unit of measurement, since this area, is going to be square. Okay, so square inches. So that's just for the two circles. But that will be enough to paint only the top and the bottom, or put glitter or whatever you need to do. But for the area around, you have this, which becomes a rectangle. We know that this part is the height, which will be h. But what about this base times height of a rectangle? Well, look at this. If I go back to my cylinder that I'm trying to paint or decorate, what would this represent? What would this from here to here represent? Well, I turn it around and look at what happens. what I just pointed out is this part, which is the circumference. Okay, again, look at that. That's the circumference, which is just one line, and you open it up, and that becomes the base of the rectangle. Okay, so for this part right here, so it will be something like this. For this part right here, this is the circumference and this is the height. So that's how I'm gonna find the lateral area. So A is equals to circumference times the height. And so we know that circumference is D times pi and times height. So D is the diameter. If the radius is 3, the diameter will be 6. Pi is 3.14 and the height is 10. I multiply, I can do 6 times 10 first, which is 60. Remember, it doesn't matter which one you multiply first, so I'm going to multiply the 6 and the 10. 6 times 10, 60. You just bring down the 3.14. And 60 times 3.14, 60 times 3.14 gives me 188.4. And that's squared inches. So this is this area right here. This is the answer for these two areas right here. Now I need to put them together. And so the surface area, the total surface area is equals to 56.52 plus 188.4. You need to align the decimal points, and tenths go with tenths, ones with ones, tens with tens, and so on. Okay, very important to align in addition and subtraction of decimals, to align the decimal point. So 2 plus nothing is 2, 5 plus 4 is 9, 8 plus 6 is 14, carry 1, 8 plus 5 is 13, and 1 is 14, carry 1, and 1 plus 1 is 2. So the total surface area for this cylinder is 244.92 squared inches. Okay, you might want to pause the video if you need more time to write it down. But this is the second one. And so it's going to be the same. We have two circles for the bases and the lateral area, which is around the cylinder. So for the area of the two circles, A is equals to, again, pi r squared is the area of a circle, but we have two of them. So I'm just going to put times 2 in here so that I can get the area of the two bases. And so 2 times 3.14 times radius, well, this is the diameter. Diameter is twice as big as the radius, so the radius is only from the center to here, which is 5 square. And so it's going to be 2 times 3.14 times 5 times 5 is 25. Remember, when you're squaring something, it's not 5 times 2, meaning 10. No, it's 5 times 5. Now, in here, we're going to multiply the 2 and the 25. Again, if you want to multiply this first, it's okay. And then the answer, you just multiply by 25. It's going to be the same thing. 2 times 25 is 50 times 3.14. And I believe I memorized this one. 50 times 3.14 is 157. Since we don't have a unit of measurement in here, we're just going to put square units. So the U stands for units. Okay, now we have the area of the two bases. Let's find the area around the cylinder. So that's going to be area is equals to, remember, the circumference, which becomes the base of that rectangle, times the height. And so the circumference is d times pi, and the height, which we can replace now with the d is diameter, meaning 10, pi is 3.14, the height is 4. We multiply this first and we get 4 times 10 is 40 times 3.14, and 40 times 3.14. Whoops. If you want to try it without using calculator, go ahead. I'm just trying to make the video a little shorter. So that's 125.6. So that's just for the side, right? And so now I'm putting these two surfaces together, or we can say 3 because it's 2 circles. It's 2 and then that one 3. Okay, so square units. So 157 plus 125.6, we add them together, so it's going to be 6 decimal point 2, carry the 1, 8, and we have 2. So 200, the surface area of everything is 282.6 square units. Remember, for area, any type of area is going to be squared. Okay, sometimes your figure or your cylinder is going to be slanted. And so it's going to be very similar to the previous ones. The only difference is that you're not going to take the height in here. They call it, you're going to get the lateral height or lateral side. Okay, that's what we're going to be taking for the last part, but once we get there, I'll explain it to you. Okay, so again, the two circles stay the same. And so its area is equals to pi r squared, but we have 2 of those, so I'm going to multiply by 2. And so the area is equals to 2 times 3.14 times the radius, which is 4 squared. So it's 2 times 3.14 times 16. And somebody asked me, teacher, can I just multiply this in the calculator? That's fine. That should be fine. Some teachers prefer for you to do step by steps and even do this one first and just bring that one. So it all depends what you're asked to, but with me, it's fine if you use your calculator already in here. Okay, so 2 times 16 is 32 times 3.14. And I'm going to go ahead and use my calculator. 32 times 3.14. The two circles come up to be a total area of 100.48 square meters. So that's for the two circles, the two bases. For the lateral area, meaning around, you notice that for that, the other one, this was a rectangle, right? For this one, and I have to explore this a little bit more, but I'm thinking that if you cut it in here and you open it, I believe, and I'm gonna explore this, you can also do that. I think you're gonna get something like this. But if you think about it, if I cut this section right here and then put it in here, I end up with, okay, let's say that I cut it from here, put it in here, and this is what I end up with. Rectangle. Not completely sure, but I think that's my hypothesis. I should test it and let you know in class. Okay, so for the lateral area, you're going to get circumference times, is either S or L for lateral side, okay? And so the circumference is D times pi. The lateral side, or S for that side, is going to be replaced with 15. Oh, I didn't give enough space. 3.14 for pi, and the diameter is, if the radius is 4, the diameter will be 8. And I multiply 8 times 15, which is 120. 120 times 3.14. And so 120 times 3.14 gives me 376.8 square meters, and that's for the lateral area. Now I put these two together, and so the total surface area is equals to 100.48 plus 376.8. Notice how I align the 8 with the 4. There is nothing to add to the 8, you just bring it down. 8 times 4 is 12, carry 1. 6 times 1 is 7. 7, because 7 times 0 is 7, and 3 plus 1 is 4. So the total surface area is equals to, what am I missing here? The aligned decimals, you just put it as 1, and so that's your total surface area. But don't forget the unit of measurement, it's square meters. Okay, so with that, you're ready to paint all the surface area of a cylinder, and you are also able to do 11.7, so have fun.